Hey again, everybody. This is Comic Book Hangover. It is Monday. It's actually Labor Day, so I hope everybody's having a good Labor Day. I hope everybody had a great Labor Day weekend. Cookouts, all that fun stuff. But this week, I am going to actually have a mini Monday review video. This will be the second one that I've done. Still kind of fine-tuning how I'm doing this, but this week I decided to do another Marvel miniseries. One that I don't think gets a whole lot of attention, but I'm kind of surprised it doesn't with Cosmic Ghost Rider being as popular as he is now for some reason. But this is a series that came out as a 4-issue miniseries. Got all 4 issues here. Came out from September through December of 2012. This book is almost 10 years old. That's kind of crazy. Written by Frank Thierry. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I could be wrong. But art by Mark Texier, one of my favorite artists, especially on Ghost Rider of all time. I'm talking about Space Punisher. Now, Space Punisher, it's a what-if book. There's your Mark Texier cover. Sorry. He also does the interiors, and the interiors are just as great. But with Space Punisher, you get the Punisher, Frank Castle. He's in space. And basically, the entirety of the Marvel Universe seems to take place in space. This is a what-if series. It's completely and totally what-if, so you can enjoy this for what it is, and you don't have to worry about this connecting to anything else. But here you've got the same origin for the Punisher. Family gets killed by a mob. Now the gang. He eventually finds out that the people who were behind the deaths of his family is an organization called the Six-Fingered Hand, and he decides to take them out. That's the Frank Castle that we know, and to do so, he decides to go through their generals. Each member of the Six-Fingered Hand has a general, and he decides to take them out to get the attention of the Six-Fingered Hand. And so he could take them out. So in the first issue, we see him taking on sort of a new character, an amalgam character, I could say, the Sim Brood Ant Queen. It's basically the Brood have been taken over by the symbiotes. And he wipes all of them out. He winds up killing her. And then after that, and it was actually an interesting amalgamation between the two. But after that, he goes to a bar called the Starjammer, and it's sort of like that bar in Star Wars, the original Star Wars. In there, we see all kinds of villains. We see Thanos and Blastar and Annihilus, Mantis, and a Boba Fett looking character, but he's got a gray helmet on. Unless it might have been because he's in the background, but essentially it's because he's got a gray helmet on, but he wants to talk to Corsair, who X-Men fans know as being related to Cyclops. But excuse me, my allergies are starting to act up. But he wants Corsair to tell him where a character called Barracuda is. And after finding Barracuda, he learns that's where he kind of learns that the people that he's looking for actually work for the Six-Fingered Hand. So he finds out who he's looking for. These 6 sort of generals to this organization, and it's space variants of Dr. Octopus, who instead of having his let me get on there. Instead of having his instead of having his arms on his back like he normally does, this version of Dr. Octopus, his lower half is an octopus. There's also Magneto, Ultron, the Red Skull, and the Green Goblin. And the Symbiote Ant Queen was one of them as well. He killed her off. So he's getting ready to get information on where to find the Six-Fingered Hand, as well as finding where these people are. And he gets attacked by the Six-Fingered Hand's like top assassin people, and it's Sabretooth, the leader, and Deadpool. And Deadpool's in a sort of a gray and black outfit here. Sabretooth kind of looks like Sabretooth, but that's at the end of the first issue, they show up and all hell's getting ready to break loose. But a really good sort of introduction. We're sort of hitting the story midstream, and we know we have the basics. We know who Frank Castle is. We know why he's doing what he's doing. He's got a ship named Maria, that's named after his now dead wife. He's got a robot assistant who, oddly enough, is called Chip. He's represented as sort of a little boy. And his name Chip, which, in the main 616, Chip is the guy. I think Chip is the guy who helps Frank with his weaponry and whatnot. And here, it's because his son's name was Chip. So we've got this, this sort of connection, and we see Frank, as he remembers his family and how that affects him, the loss of his family. But we also have a lot of violence. We've got a lot of fighting. There's some swearing. But a great first issue. But it doesn't do anything to prepare us for the fact that in Space Punisher #2, we get another new character, and that is the Hulk. Now, with the Hulk, we're introduced to this guy. He's big, he's green, but he's got 4 arms, and we're introduced to him with footage. We're showing footage of him having killed the Fantastic Four. And actually the scene that we see is we see a dead Invisible Woman. We see a stretched out, knotted, and dead Mr. Fantastic. We see there's also Ben Grimm, who's a beaten, bloodied pulp missing his arm. And the reason why he's missing his arm is because this version of the Hulk is using it to beat the Human Torch to death. So we have this massive, violent, strong version of the Hulk. After he does his thing, he winds up actually showing up where Frank is and faces off against the 3 assassins. He takes care of Deadpool, just rips Deadpool's head off and throws it into space. He kills Sabretooth. He jumps on the leader and winds up, breaking his back. But Frank, knowing that he is a little bit closer to the 6-fingered hand, takes the leader. And he sort of hightails it because he knows he can't beat this version of the Hulk. This version of the Hulk is probably one of the strongest versions that we've ever had. But he, after he saves the leader, he will convinces the leader to tell him where to find Dr. Octopus. He finds Dr. Octopus, and the way we're introduced to him is he is strapped to the front of Maria, Frank's ship, flying through space, and his face is getting melted off and whatnot. But he's able to survive because since he's part octopus, he can survive without breathing for extended periods of time. But he eventually is able to tell Frank where to find the 6-fingered hand and also the other generals. But now the 6-fingered hand has noticed what Frank is doing. And we do find out who the 6-fingered hand are in that issue, but it isn't until the 3rd issue where things really start to come to a head. Now, in the 3rd issue, Frank realizes that he needs something pretty strong to take on this group of the 6-fingered hand. So he goes to Avengers Planet, this place called Assemble City, and he goes to a museum. And when he's in this museum, he's there because he wants to get a weapon powerful enough to take on the 6-fingered hand and wipe them out. So he sees this trophy room, I guess you could call it a trophy room, but it's got stuff like Galactus's helmet. It's got a cosmic cube. It's got an infinity gauntlet. It's got a whole bunch of Iron Man armor, but that's not what he's looking for. And he's also kind of weirded out because there seems to be no security there. But he meets up with Jarvis, and Jarvis is a butler, but we don't really see what Jarvis is in here, but I don't think he's human. I think he might be a robot or something because he kicks the crap out of Frank. And then Frank winds up, having to have Maria teleport Jeeves, he calls him Jeeves, but Jarvis out of there so he can get the weapon that he needed, because he found out that the 6-fingered hand, it isn't a group of humans, it isn't a group of superhumans. It's actually a group of the Watchers led by Uatu, who decided a long time ago that they couldn't just watch. They needed to participate, and they needed to sort of create order out of chaos, and only they could do it by their own strong arm tactics. And so when he confronts them, he figures, okay, I've got the one weapon that can take these things out, these characters out, because he knows the Watchers, he does not have weaponry powerful enough for that, but he knows how to use the ultimate nullifier. And at the end of this issue, they tell him, you don't have the guts to do it. And they show him trigger. He goes, yeah, pushes the button. End of the issue. Great way to end an issue, too, with Frank Castle, the Punisher, with the ultimate nullifier, who's willing to destroy everything to get revenge against the people who killed his family. I mean, that's insane. But then in the fourth and final issue, we find out that the Watchers actually created the ultimate nullifier, and they did it as a way to sort of, I guess you could say, amuse themselves, but also to show that they can create these weapons, but these weapons don't actually work. So Frank he's sort of in a position where, oh crap, I'm surrounded by these super powerful characters. He does anger them. They give him a chance to leave, but he doesn't do it because he wants them dead. And he decides it's time for Plan B. And Plan B is something that he set up previously because he found out that the Hulk is he's hurt by a certain frequency of sound. And he has Maria, but he has actually plant a homing chip into his arm. And when he realizes that he's out of his depth, there's no way he could beat the Watchers. He has Maria broadcast that frequency, which she had already been doing, so the Hulk was already on his way. And he had her transport that receiver into his microchip arm, which would then draw the Hulk to him directly. And he shows up. The Hulk shows up, and he obliterates all 6 of these Watchers. And it's just absolutely insane, which kind of makes me think that this may be the strongest version of the Hulk, if not one of the strongest versions of the Hulk we've had in the Marvel multiverse ever. Because I mean, he's able to take out 6 Watchers, 6 cosmic level characters in basically one page. He takes 2 of them and slams their head together. He punches one through the chest, and he just destroys them all. But the Watcher, Uatu, before he dies, he tells Frank Castle, look, we were keeping order in the universe. Without us, there's going to be nothing but chaos. And he winds up dying, and then we see that Frank Castle was proven, or the Uatu was proven right, in that after he died and the Six-Fingered Hand was dissolved, and all their generals are dead, and there's no strong arm tactics in the universe anymore. There's murder, there's crime, everything is going crazy. But Frank is happy with that because he got revenge for his family, and now he has other outlets for his violent nature. But the story ends with this universe's version of the Avengers finishing the Kree Skrull War. And they do it because, as this version of Captain America says, I've always believed that the best way to take out to stop 2 groups from fighting is to take out the 2 groups that are fighting. So they wiped out the Kree and the Skrull, and then they find out that there's all this chaos going on in the universe, back on Earth or wherever it is they're from, and they decide it's time to come home and set things straight. So this ends with them contacting Jarvis, who's floating in space, and says, assemble. And Jarvis's eyes open up. So there was a possibility for more with this. It didn't happen. I don't know if it was sales or just lack of general interest from Marvel, but I would like to see something more with the Space Punisher universe. It was a lot of fun. As far as rereading again, like I said, this came out in 2012. It's almost 10 years ago, and this is the first time I've reread it since then. And it holds up really well. There's really nothing, since it takes place in space. There's not a lot of pop culture references and that sort of thing. So there isn't anything that could really date the story. Mark Texeira's art is timeless as always. I mean, I could go back and look at his Ghost Rider stuff from 1990, and it still holds up. It's still some amazing art. The man's an amazing artist. So as far as the story and the art, the book holds up. some 10 years later, 10 years removed from its release. So it is one that I can recommend. It is a little bit more violent. It's one of those what if stories where, characters die, and they do die violently. When he takes out the Red Skull, there's the Green Goblin throws one of his pumpkin bombs at the Punisher, and the Punisher catches it and shoves it into the Red Skull's mouth, and boom, blows his head off. It is a violent, very, very, very violent book, especially for this era, this time of Marvel from 2012. But overall, I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fun read. Usually, when I'm rereading some of these old miniseries, and those of you out there who have done this before kind of may understand what I'm talking about. When you try rereading an older story that you remember fondly, but it doesn't hold up very well, you have a hard time getting through it. You wind up, reading a few pages and then stopping and maybe watching TV or just kind of flipping through the book. You kind of get bored with it. But that wasn't the case with this. I really actually enjoyed this. I thought it might take me a little while to reread the whole thing, but I enjoyed it so much I got it reread in about a half an hour. And I was able to go back and flip through and look at some stuff and look at some of the panels closer. Because again, Mark Texeira's art is absolutely amazing in this book. I wish I had, a way to... do voiceovers and that sort of stuff and kind of, show you the art, but I'm not really too comfortable with, opening up these books and holding them up with my hands, you guys and gals out there who like to keep your books in really good condition, you know what I mean? There's really not an easy way to do it. So, just take my word for it, though. I mean, even based on the covers, I mean, these covers are great. Some of my favorite Texeira covers, actually, and every time I flip through my box and I see this, I'm cutting myself off. This is my favorite cover of the entire series right here. And I also think it's kind of cool. There's sort of a bullet hole up there, but they kind of give the impression that he is taking out the Galactus in this, but Galactus has already been taken care of, and we don't get the skull. There's no bullet hole. We just see his helmet in the trophy room of the Avengers. So. It's cool, but it makes for a great vision. I like this one here. He says, buy this comic or I shoot this planet. That's pure Punisher goodness right there. But all in all, end of the day, it's a great read. It holds up really well. It's still very entertaining. It is, again, as I've said a couple of times already, it is a what-if book. So you can read this without having to worry about its connection to anything else at all. Don't worry about any connections to movies or anything that's going on then or even going on now. It's just a good, fun, standalone, enjoy it as it happens story. I do recommend it. It's a lot of fun. And actually, I'm going to show off this cover again as I wrap this up, because this is my absolute favorite cover. So I do recommend it. End of the day, I think it was a really fun story. It's I don't know what more I could say about it, so I'm just going to wrap this up. It's a great read, and if you come across it, I don't know if it's ever been published or collected in a trade paperback, but if it has, check it out. If it hasn't, these issues should be pretty cheap, and most LCSs. It's only 4 issues, and as I said, it's well worth reading. It's well worth checking out because so much fun, just so much fun. So. There you go. There you have it. I'm going to wrap this up now. Thank you for watching. We'll see everybody on Thursday with another weekly haul, weekly review video, and then Friday again with another full run Friday, which, of course, I have yet to decide what I want to do. But that said, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my revisitation of Space Punisher. And check it out. If this has gotten you even remotely curious about it, check it out and let me know. Let me know what you think about these review videos. Leave me a comment down below. Definitely slap that like button. I greatly appreciate it. Hit that notifications if you want to keep up on the videos that I'm putting out. And share the hell out of these videos. I would appreciate that as well. So again, thanks for watching. We'll see everybody later this week. Enjoy the rest of your Labor Day. Have yourself a nice barbecue. Read some great comic books. And actually, how about that? What comic books are you reading today for this Labor Day? Are there regular books that you read every Labor Day? And I'm actually kind of setting this up so if you could see the shoulders kind of line up with my shoulders. So I have the skull head of Galactus. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I'll see everybody later this week. Enjoy your Labor Day. Enjoy your comics. And, we'll see you later.